All right, we are live. Welcome to the end of the year UFC card, that is. I mean, we have more cards coming. Let's not forget Ryzen. Drake would kill me if I was like, yeah. No, but welcome to the end of the year for the UFC Tailgate show, man. It's December 19th. It's crazy. It's December 19th. We're about to have 3 weeks of no fights going on from the UFC. That hasn't happened in 5 months. A weekend free of UFC fights. I think it's 5 months, something like that.
It's been so long, I don't even know anymore.
It's insane. But want to thank you guys for joining us. Really appreciate it. If you're a drinker, I hope you're sipping on something great. Let us know in the chat. Myself, I'm back with my Magic Hat number 9. And this time I do have snacks. I have some unconventional snacks. I've got a buffalo chicken enchilada here, which is delicious. My girlfriend Danny makes these. These are incredible. Cheese, chicken, cream cheese, hot sauce, a little bit of onion powder. Bam. Amazing. And then I'm going full. I'm in Austin, right? So full brunch style. Blueberry muffins, baby. Blueberry muffins, buffalo chicken enchilada. That's what I'm on. Drake, what are you sipping on?
Well, no snacks for me, but yes, sipping on Coors Light today. Let me crack her open here. There we go.
There it is.
Silver bullet. As I've only been awake for about 20 minutes. What a way. That's how you tailgate, right? You wake right up and you get drinking.
Exactly. That is how you tailgate. And again, thanks for joining. If you're not a drinker, that's fine. We accept everyone here. Yeah. You can drink water. You can eat if you want to. You don't have to eat whatever. Oh, duels? Yeah, if you want to go the duels route. I mean, technically, I'd probably judge you less if you drank water. But, if you want, if you want duels, not going to stop you, man. You do your thing. We are all inclusive here. But again, we're going to, judgment free. So we're going to eat some snacks. We're going to drink some drinks. We're going to talk about these fights coming up. Drake, we'll get to the main event here in a second. But before we do, what fight is just catching your eye outside of the main event where you're just pumped for it?
Boy, which one is really jumping out at me? I mean, easy answer I think would probably be the co-main event, but I'm going to go with another total me answer like I did last week and pick the ladies fight. So I'm going to, and not the first one, but the second one, Sijara Eubanks and Pannie Kianzad. I think that has all the potential to be a pretty wild and interesting one on the feet because, Pannie's got plenty of momentum right now. Has looked better than ever, and then Sijara Eubanks, pretty much the same case, but she did lose her last fight against Vera, but that was on short notice, stepping in to fly all the way over to Fight Island. I believe it was in the same month that she beat Julia Avila. She was looking very good prior to that, and no shame in losing to Ketlin, especially on short notice. So looking forward to that one. I think it's a great style matchup, and it's important for this division, which we are always talking about needing new life, and if Pannie can keep rolling, she can really jump up and should get a bigger fight after this one too. So that would make her one to watch as a potential contender. Maybe not after she wins this one, but should be on the right track. So
yeah, and I mean, again, that's not a fight I would have picked. I know a lot of people are expecting this to be kind of a boring decision. Not gonna lie, that's what I've heard on the street. But the last time I went against you, let's remind the people.
Speaking of judgment,
we'll get to that too. We'll get to that too. I mean, but I hope it's a banger. That'd be great. I want all of these fights to be amazing, especially for the end of the year card for the UFC. For me, I gotta go co-main, right? You got Aldo, you got Vera. That right there is such a good fight in terms of Aldo hasn't looked completely gone. I know a lot of people are kind of writing Aldo off. They're saying he's going off into the sunset. He didn't look great versus Jan, but he didn't look terrible, right? And against Marlon Morice, that was a very close fight. He lost that by split decision. I actually had him winning that fight, but I know a lot of people had Marlon. Very close fight. He hung in there. And the first couple rounds with Jan, he hung in there very well. So against Vera, who is an up-and-coming guy, but has dropped a couple of decisions to some good prospects, Song Yadong, a couple people here and there, has been on a tear right now. He's dangerous, but is he dangerous enough to take out Aldo? I don't know. And that's what entices me. Bantamweight Aldo. People called me crazy for saying bantamweight Aldo was going to be good. Everyone's like, he's going to be super dehydrated. He's going to get knocked out. And I was like, dude, no, he's going to be fine. I talked to him right before at UFC 245, before he made that bantamweight walk, and he seemed completely normal. And I was like, after talking with him, I was like, you know what? I think he's going to be all right. I think his chin is going to hold up, and it has so far. I mean, even against Jan didn't land one big punch that laid him out. He had to follow up with extra shots. I mean, he's got, he's got that chin still. So I'm very excited for that co-main.
Yeah, no, that one's going to be totally awesome. And I mean, Chito, just in recent fights, this recent run that he's been on, I mean, man, finishing everybody. And it took him so long to finally get, a top spot, and even top fight. Even the O'Malley one, that came after the Yadong one, but like that seemed kind of like a step backwards after, even losing to Yadong, because that was at featherweight and everything, in a very close fight, like you said. So I mean, yeah, Vera has looked very good recently, no matter what. And Aldo, yeah, he was doing very fine against Jan. He wasn't, he only won one round from what I scored, and I think many people gave him the second, I believe, was second or third round, and Jan was just kind of just a step ahead of him. I don't think he was completely dominating him. He was like clearly winning, but Aldo was definitely in there, and it was a much better fight than I think a lot of people anticipated. So this one should be very interesting, because Chito, I don't think, will be intimidated by the presence of José Aldo as people can be.
Yes. Yeah, no, I don't think Chito's going to back down at all. Chito's been talking about a finish. It should be just an absolute banger of a fight for as long as it goes, because I don't know if it's going to go to a decision or not. Chito's never been finished. Aldo has been finished, but, again, only against the elite guys. I'm thinking it probably goes to decision here, if I were a betting man. Again, we can't legally tell you that you should bet on things, but that one I feel pretty good about. What do you think? Am I off there? Thinking that's going to go to decision either way, whether it's Chito or Aldo winning that fight?
I don't know. I could see a third round finish for either guy, and I lean a little bit more towards Aldo getting a finish, which might sound crazy, but I think about ever since he came back from the Holloway rematch, right? And then he was taking out Jeremy Stevens, taking out Moicano, like unexpectedly starting to finish guys and looking like, oh man, Aldo's not done just yet. Like I could kind of see something like that happen here again, just because it would be easy to write him off after losing these title fights recently that he has, and then the Volkanovski fight even too. But like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like we could definitely be surprised by him here, and he could look great and show us remind us why he is one of the greatest of all time. So, I don't know if I would say what's more likely between a finish and a decision, but yeah, I'm gonna say somebody's gonna finish it in the third.
Ooh, okay.
It's very intriguing. One of them. I'll give you a pick later in the show. Let me think about it a little bit. It's a great fight. So,
okay.
Not sure who I have getting that finish just yet.
All right, I'm excited for that pick later in the show. In the meantime, let us know which fight you are most excited about. Let us know what you're drinking on. Give us anything at all. We're here to answer your questions. Again, really appreciate you joining us. Hope you're having a good Saturday. I hope, depending on where you are in the world, I know it might be 10 p.m., might be 7 a.m., might be 2 p.m., whatever time it is, I hope it's a good day so far. Other fights outside of Aldo and Vera and Kianzad and Eubanks that catch your eye, Drake. I can think of a couple, but I want to know if anything else besides that other woman's fight catches your eye.
Okay, well, first off, question here, because what I'm looking at, Jimmy Flick and Cody Durden's not happening anymore, right? That is...
Is that canceled? Is that breaking news? I don't know.
No. I thought that was canceled like a week ago. Like that one's been canceled, but it's showing up here on Wikipedia.
I don't think it's canceled. I think they're going. I think
okay.
I thought they canceled it they canceled it from maybe last week because of pink eye, because Durden had pink eye or whatever, and then they rescheduled for this week. So no, that's happened as far as I know.
Okay, all right, maybe got all mixed up there. Everything blends together with the cancellations, the shows all being in the same place.
It's hard to keep track. Man, they're good for memories.
I'll take your word for it. So I mean that I was curious about that. That is an interesting one though. I like Jimmy Flick. Pettis and Morono is very interesting because a significant step down for Pettis, even though Morono has been looking better recently, I would say. And it's kind of let's see where Pettis kind of is fight. Gauge where he's at in terms of his gatekeeperness, because I mean he's not really a top contender anymore. So that one's pretty interesting. And I mean the other one that stands out probably to most people would be Pereira versus Khaos Williams, which
it's
guaranteed
funny.
finish maybe.
That's what I would put my money on. Again, I can't legally tell you to bet, and based on how I did last weekend, you probably don't want to listen to me because I did terrible. I really struck. I swung for the fences and I struck out big. But that being said,
listen to
listen to Drake. I mean, so it's funny you bring up Alex Morono looking better because he looked great against Rhys McKee, right? He really did. And before his loss to Khaos Williams, mind you, which was right before the Rhys McKee fight, he was on a 4-fight win streak. He was looking better. He was looking in good shape. The McKee fight, Morono just dominated. I mean, the amount of strikes he threw. McKee's tough. He hung in there. He's got heart, but I mean that was just a technical masterclass on someone that is clearly more skilled than you are in the octagon. But Williams, Morono looked like a deer in headlights against Williams, just terrible in my opinion. I think he landed one or two shots. He looked awful. So these fights are interconnected because first I want to know. Morono versus Williams, is that Williams being just that good? Or is that Morono maybe looking better against some opponents that aren't as great and then, Pettis is going to take advantage of that?
I think it's more of a Khaos Williams thing. I mean, that fight lasted 30 seconds, right? 27, not even 30. So I mean, Khaos Williams just being Khaos Williams. And you look at who Morono's been beating besides that. Take out that fight. He's on a 4-fight winning streak. You can't do that. I'm just being silly, fantastical here, you guys. But
it's not a 5-fight winning streak. You take out that fight.
Yeah, if you take it out, then. No, but I mean, you look at who he beat before that. Max Griffin, that's not a bad win. I mean, Max Griffin's not the best guy or anything like that, but a very solid, guy who shows up every time. And I mean, he's been improving lately. If we're going to go off his last fight where he's ripping ears off of skulls and all that, so I mean, that's a good win to have. Zach Otto, a very durable guy. He finished him, which was kind of surprising for me because Otto kind of in that same boat as Max Griffin, I would say, but just very durable, a strong guy to put away. And before that, Song Kanon, good one. I mean, his recent wins, besides Rhys McKee, really, because, I mean, take that one with a pinch of salt just because, we saw what happened against Khamzat, so you, didn't really know how good the guy was, and then this happens, so you're like, okay, maybe he's not quite UFC caliber, but those 3 wins before the Khaos Williams loss, I think, showed that Morono did turn a new leaf, because before that, he was kind of looking like, not sure where this guy really stands in terms of potential in the UFC because he started off a little bit slow there. But yeah, I think he's turned it around for the most part. So, that's kind of where I'd put him. I think that was, what was the question? I went off a little bit there.
whether it was Williams or Morono, you did a great job of that. Shout out to Abraham Litwin Logan for saying great preview. Thanks, guys. Abraham, let me know which fight you're looking forward to. Cole Shelton, the man himself. He's just been churning out interviews. Cheers to Cole. What's up, man? Hope you're doing well on this fine Saturday. If you guys haven't checked out Cole's work, you definitely should. He's got interviews all over the place. Him and James Lynch right now just cranking them out. It's ridiculousness. All right, so let's move on. We've talked about Morono. We've talked about Pettis. We've talked about Williams. We've talked about Pereira. I got to ask, because this one shocked me a little bit. When I see the betting line on this, I am scratching my head saying, what? Well, really? It's this close? And that is Marcin Tybura versus Greg Hardy. And the reason I'm scratching my head is Tybura is not a slouch, right? We've seen him pull off some great wins. He's looked good against good competitors. He looked great against Derek Lewis until Lewis did his thing and came back. And that might just be
most Lewis fights, yeah.
Yeah, most Lewis fights. So that's, yeah. But, I mean, even still, he's shown some really good kickboxing. He's shown some ground game against Maxim Grisham. That was a great strategy to neutralize him. That all being said, the dude has gotten knocked out a lot since he's come to the UFC. Doesn't have the best striking defense. He's been knocked out by a couple of people that, don't always get knockouts. I believe Sakai, he was knocked out by pretty early. Yeah,
Drakhimov.
So to me, I look at this fight and I say, this is great and all, but I think Greg Hardy's going to do Greg Hardy things. And Hardy is now, he opened as a plus 115. He's now down to a negative 115. So it has gone more towards his favor, which I thought. But that being said, am I way off on this? This to me seems like I'm going to throw a bunch of money on Greg Hardy for a knockout because Tybura's chin is just not there.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a safe bet. I don't know, man. First of all, Tybura, he's doing his thing. Props to him and all that, but I have real trouble getting excited for his fights. More often than not, it's usually a little bit of a slog, especially these last 3 where he hasn't got a finish. But he's looked, better. I know that Mr. Wells and I don't remember if you were there, but we did a breakdown of that Moraes and Sandhagen card, and he fought Rothwell on that one, and Matt was very unimpressed with the whole fight. He was not pleased with it, and I was like, this is better than I thought it would be, but that's not saying much. So, it's like he's doing what he needs to do to win, and I think if he kind of sticks with that game plan of just fighting smart, maybe trying to clinch up on Hardy and keep, close the distance to avoid any knockout power, he should be just fine here. But yeah, if there's going to be a knockout coming, it would most likely be from Hardy, who is proven to be a very hard power puncher, and Tybura with the questionable chin, taking the knockouts to those 2 guys who, don't often get too many knockouts. So yeah, I mean, maybe he's recovered a bit from those by avoiding these knockouts in his 3-fight stretch that he's on right now. But yeah, it's I guess the odds are pretty fair here, even though the experience and everything way in Tybura's favor. Like, you look at everybody he's fought, level of competition and all that, it's all in his favor, but that doesn't always say much at heavyweight, as we kind of saw last week with Junior and Cyril Gahn. So
yeah, no, I would agree with that. And yeah, I mean, for me, again, I think Hardy's proven he's durable, especially in the Volkov fight. He got pieced up pretty good. Volkov did his thing, but he's got a chin on him, and 15 minutes of Tybura in there with Hardy only takes 1, right? I mean, that's Tybura's. We've seen that with Derek Lewis versus Tybura. So for me, I'm going Hardy, and I'm thinking the odds are a little bit, nicer than they should be myself. Of course, Mr. Abraham Litwin Logan. Of course, curious to see how time off affects Wonderboy, but most excited to see Cheeto back in action. Yes, I am very curious about how this layoff for Wonderboy, how it's going to affect him, especially against Geoff Neal. I think looking at Geoff Neal's time off too, that is something to take into account.
Both of them.
And we're going to break that down here right in a minute. But before we do, I also want to go to another comment by Abraham Litwin Logan. Think Moraes gets cut if he loses this fight? Ooh. I mean, they are doing the roster cuts. We've talked about this. Drake's shaking his head no. I can't see it. Losing 2 back-to-back against, Sandhagen is totally understandable. 3 back-to-back it would be. He'd be on 3-fight losing streak at that point. But still, you got Cejudo, you've got
he beat
Sandhagen.
Aldo.
Oh, yeah, he beat Aldo. That's right, man. Duh.
You just didn't think he did.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and take a bite of my delicious buffalo chicken enchilada.
Don't mind me.
But yeah, no, I don't think he gets cut. Drake, I assume your opinion on it is the same based on that shake?
No, you can't cut Marlon Morice. He's one of the best in this division, regardless of the losses that he's taken here. I mean, if he loses to Rob Font, which I don't think that he will, I think he should rebound very strongly in this one. Corey Sandhagen is just that good, and I mean, that was an incredible performance by him. I think kind of surprised everybody, including Moraes, obviously. But no, you cannot cut this guy if he loses here. I mean, I get why you're asking it, though, because it is Rob Font, who's he's ranked around 10, and Moraes is still floating around the top 3. So
I think even 12. I don't know why I'm pulling that number, but yeah, I mean,
I feel like he's been at 12 for like 3 years. He's just really been stuck at number 12.
He gets to that like contender level, and he tends to lose those contender fights, right? Like that's really what seems to set him back. So yeah, if Moraes loses to Font, that's a big setback.
Still, that just if he loses one after this, then yeah, I would imagine. So I see we were pretty much right, 11 and 3. So 11 to 3. Nah, man. I mean, former WEC champ, not WEC, WSOF champ. I mean, depending on if he looks just awful, if he looks terrible, then okay, maybe, because I'm sure that his contract is a bit pricier than maybe some others because he came in as a former champion. And all that stuff, and was just right in the mix immediately. So, with that, if that happens, sure, but I would be stunned if Font styles on him. That would be something.
Yeah, no, and again, the odds there, Moraes is only sitting at -150. I think it might have changed a little bit here towards the end, but yeah, I mean, it was last I checked on Bovada, it was -150 for Moraes and +125 for Font, which is again, I thought a little bit. Nice price to pick up Moraes myself. But again, I know absolutely nothing about gambling as seen by last weekend. Yep. So take it with a big grain of salt. All right, let's
grain.
Yeah, pretty big, man. Pretty big. Put some hops with that grain right there. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes. The main event. There are so many things to look at here. We got Wonder Boy, we got Geoff Neal. Let's start with Wonder Boy. As Mr. Logan pointed out, coming off a layoff here, his last fight was against Luque last November. So it's been over a year.
I was there.
Wonder Boy. Yeah, back in the pre-COVID times.
Yeah, the good old days.
Back in my day when you could sit in an arena and watch a fight.
The president was there.
Yeah, the president showed up.
Dude, that's okay. Just to reflect a little bit, that's the weirdest fucking thing I think that I could remember, like in my recent lifetime, is like, Jesus, I was in the same room with the president of the United States and The Rock at the same time. I was there with them. That is weird.
That's a pretty good brag, man. You don't have to explain why. Just be like, what's my celebrity thing? Oh, I was in the same room with The Rock and the president. Not a big deal.
Just so casual about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, of course. Yeah, that's true.
Isn't that bizarre though?
It's so bizarre. Hey, I mean, the whole night was bizarre. I mean, then you had you remember Canelo and the ridiculousness of like showing the main event of the BMF title, just making them wait. Like, what a...
He's like slumped on the couch, right?
Yeah. And he was like gloved up. He's just like, just kind of like, well, yeah, it was such a weird thing. But yeah, so I mean, that's the last time Wonder Boy's fought. He looked good in that Luque fight.
Fight of the night.
Fight of the night. Luque came out storming, forced Wonder Boy to get aggressive, and I love to see that because this is a Wonder Boy who said he was going to be more aggressive against Tyron Woodley. Never a second time, didn't really happen. Deron Till fight again, kind of a technical chess match, if you will, but still kind of holding back there. He had opened up against Pettis, but that actually came back to bite him. I was live for that one, and he was
Pettis winning until he wasn't.
Right. And I mean, he was winning. Like I thought he was going to put Pettis away in the fourth round for sure, because Pettis looked like garbage. If you go back and just look at a Pettis post-fight or just from round 3 when he wins, his face is so torn up, and he's got bruises everywhere. He was getting pieced up every which way. It was ridiculous. But then he wasn't winning anymore. So
then he was unconscious.
Yes, then he was unconscious. Against Luque, I was thinking maybe Luque lands a good shot. Luque's got some power. Maybe Wonder Boy's chin is compromised. He's finally been knocked out. Who knows? I don't know about that anymore, especially after how well it held up from some of the shots from Luque. Just because that Pettis shot was pitch perfect, right on the button, like right on the chin. That can happen to anybody. So I think his chin is probably there. I think this will be a good test of that. But Jeff Neal is no one to be trifled with either. It's
hands of steel.
Yeah, hands of steel.
Yeah, no, I think for the most part that was more of just a I don't like to call things lucky, but if I was going to say a lucky shot by Pettis, just considering how the fight played out, the fact that Wonder Boy has never been knocked out before, the fact that it was a Superman punch, just like all that went into it makes
Off the cage, it was no less.
Yeah, it was luckier than most knockouts. Let's put it that way. Let's just put it that way. And in the Luque fight, he did take some very good shots. Luque won at least one of those rounds, and it was a back and forth battle. Like, that was amazing to see Wonder Boy really unload that way, and it ended up costing him in the form of broken hands. So, he was going hard in that one, and it paid off with the victory and the fight of the night. All that stuff got you excited for Wonder Boy fights again, even though I typically am, just because I like the way that he's such a unique striker and everything. But most people would be like, oh, he's been boring lately, yada, yada, yada. But, dude, you got to think about this, too. This was pointed out by... I believe Zane Simon said it. Shout out to him, Bloody Elbow. He said it on the 1-2 Punch podcast yesterday. Shout out to that podcast as well. But if you think about it, Wonder Boy arguably his only loss is that Pettis loss. You could argue that's the only fight he's really lost.
Yep.
Like, I believe that I did agree with the draw in the Woodley fight, the first one. Rematch, I thought he won that one.
I thought he won too.
Thought he won that one. I mean... And then, everything, he's been good other than getting knocked out there, which in that fight he was winning. Like, people forget how goddamn hard it is to beat Stephen Thompson, man. He just got unlucky on the wrong end of some of these decisions. And so, I mean, it's not crazy to think that he's not anywhere near as done as maybe people might make him out to be, just because he's been very inactive, so you forget about him, right? That's kind of been the thing lately. But, yeah, Jeff Neal... It's a huge test for Jeff Neal. It's his biggest test by far so far. And then it's a test for Wonder Boy in terms of seeing. He's probably going to take some shots, to the chin pretty clean. And that's the question is, will his chin be able to hold up? Because, I mean, we have seen him dropped even in wins like, what was it? Jake Ellenberger dropped him with one early in that fight. Very early. He got up, recovered well, and then, got a highlight reel finish out of it. So we have seen Wonder Boy hurt several times in his fights. Of course, the Woodley one too. So that's the biggest question mark, is if his chin will hold up if he gets hit with a powerful Neal shot. I mean, it was able to last against Luque, but they were moving around so much, maybe nothing connected as clean as it could have to really hurt Wonder Boy. But we'll see. I'm very excited for this fight.
Yeah, this fight should be amazing for as long as it lasts. I mean, Neal has unreal power, right? He first got a knockout, whatever you want to say about Mike Perry, which there's plenty to say about Mike Perry. But
he is a tough guy.
Yes, he is a tough guy, and he is durable. Mike Perry eats shots for days. He could not withstand.
I mean, Luque broke his face.
Yeah, Luque literally broke his face, and he didn't get knocked out really once. Neal went in there and just destroyed him. So it's very possible that we get hands of steel just putting Wonder Boy out. It's also very possible, as you mentioned, this is by far Jeff Neal's biggest test. Wonder Boy is overlooked in many ways, especially even, the rankings, the opponents he gets. I'm fine with the Luque fight. I love that happened. I'm okay with this fight too, but it's hard not to wonder if he doesn't deserve, especially if he gets past Jeff Neal here, gets some type of contender or higher ranked opponent, especially when you consider that he has wins over people like Robert Whittaker when Whittaker was back down at 170. Jorge Masvidal, he cleanly beat to a unanimous decision. He outstruck Jorge Masvidal all day. Yeah, knocked him down. People forget that. They want to say everybody was hyping up Masvidal as being this amazing boxer, and he is. He's gotten better even. But Thompson shut him down all day long. It wasn't even close. So, Thompson has these wins. I thought he won the Till fight too. It's going to be real interesting to see if his chin could hold up. Because if it can, even if he's eating these shots and it can, I think that's a little bit of trouble for Neal. Just because we have seen Neal rocked a couple of times. The one that sticks out in my mind is the Nico Price fight. He did take a shot there. He did get hurt. And Nico's got some power, but Nico isn't, a heavy-handed guy, so to speak. He can knock people out. He does, but usually in unconventional ways, right? Like James Vick knockout is weird. It's not like a typical like I hit
Randy
you
Brown
and you go down.
knockout.
Yeah, Randy Brown knockout. Same thing. Like Nico gets like will maybe wobble you a little bit and then get you with TKO or with like crazy unconventional knockouts. But he's not a heavy hitter. Wonder Boy, people forget Wonder Boy has power. It's not always there, but when it lands, it does work. He's knocked people out. Go ask Johnny Hendricks. That was the downfall of that man's career right there. It was.
I loved Prime Johnny, dude.
Yeah, Prime Johnny. We got some comments coming in. Oh, they really do. Bradley. Oh, I'm so sorry if I butcher your name.
Bradley.
What Drake said, because I'm bad at pronouncing things, and I think that's.
I know. I think I nailed it. Let me know.
Yeah. Let us know. Will Wonder Boy's footwork not give Neal problems? I mean, logically. I think that's a really good point. I think Wonder Boy's footwork is something, again, that makes him unique and that gives most everyone problems.
Yeah. And
it's definitely something Geoff Neal's never experienced before, right? I think it could certainly give Neal some problems, especially when you consider... I'm trying to recall. I want to say the Price fight. Not even close. We didn't pronounce it right. So sorry. We tried. I think Nico did a little bit of, if I remember correctly, didn't Nico do a little bit of footwork and stance switching and things like that against Neal? Maybe not. I don't. Because that fight was a banger as long as it went, but I thought Nico did some things that I thought were a little bit unconventional that gave him some shots against Neal. I don't recall. Either way, I think Neal is definitely going to have to worry about that footwork, as most every Wonder Boy opponent does, right?
Yeah, no, it would be very impressive if Neal can get around that footwork, especially early on. Maybe as the fight goes on, he'll figure things out a bit. But yeah, Wonder Boy has just proven to be one hell of a puzzle for people to figure out. And like we've been saying, no one has really, really figured it out. Like Pettis got lucky with the shot, but Pettis landed the shot on him.
We're at the tailgate, man. You can say whatever you want.
Say whatever, I feel like.
Browns got robbed by that field goal. Ref call or something, right? Tailgate.
Exactly. Damn Lamar. Wonder Boy pretty much did his best to avoid the footwork, which worked out for him, in the judges' minds and everything. So there is that. And with Geoff Neal's fighting style, I think that him coming forward, he's going to try and get around it, but that's when he's in his most trouble. So, it's hard for me to imagine it not giving him problems, especially early on. Maybe he'll figure it out as the fight goes on, because he's a very smart fighter too. But again, he's never fought anybody like Wonder Boy. Not many people like Wonder Boy, but in terms of experienced opponents, top contenders, former title challengers, all that, the accolades and everything. So, essentially, I see the footwork being a problem. That's a big problem.
Definitely. And we'll come back to Neal because I do want to revisit some aspects of Neal's fight game and plan going into this. But Mr. Logan again with a comment. Looking ahead, who do you think they match up Wonder Boy with, assuming he wins here? And same question for Neal. I don't think the UFC gives Wonder Boy a real title contender fight anytime soon. Ooh, this is tough because...
Why not, though? He hasn't fought Usman, right?
That's true. He hasn't. But I agree with, Abraham here that they're clearly giving him guys if you look at Luque, if you look at Neal, they're clearly giving him up-and-comers where he's taking much more of the risk in these situations, taking these fights, right? A win over Geoff Neal is great. It doesn't catapult you into title contention. A win over Luque, again, great. Doesn't really move you too much up even into the top 5. So I think they probably end up maybe going top 5-ish. Maybe they revisit Masvidal versus Wonder Boy, see if they can't, go that route. I don't know. And then for Neal, for me, that's also a real tough one, because if he beats Wonder Boy, then he's kind of in the same spot that we were looking at with, Khamzat jumping up if he beat Leon, right? Like, I think Neal gets a win over Wonderboy tonight, and he catapults up the rankings. I think he ends up in the top 5, even though I think Wonderboy's at 7 or 6 or something like that. Especially with his performances, I think that puts Neal right in there. I don't think they give Neal a title shot. I think they end up giving him a number 1 contender. It's just a question of who. I don't. I'm trying to think for Neal who makes sense. I'll throw it to you because I need to think on this one a little bit.
I mean, so for Neal, I mean, you would have to think, right? The guys at the top 10 that are not. It kind of depends on what is going to happen with other people, right? Like Khamzat versus Leon, for example. Assuming Gilbert gets the title shot while that fight plays out, then you got Colby and Masvidal, right? Those are the 2 other guys who are waiting around for whatever. I mean, hopefully to fight each other, right? Hopefully that would be great if they fought each other. That fight makes too much sense right now. Yeah. Too much sense. Like, shouldn't even have to mention it. But hey, let's assume that doesn't happen. I mean, I would love to see Wonderboy versus Colby just from a stylistic standpoint. That would be very intriguing to me because the way I think that Colby style kind of plays into exactly how Wonderboy likes to, fight, with people coming right at him. Colby would have to change things up for that one. But yeah, let's assume that Masvidal and Colby fight because hopefully they do. That's what should totally happen. Then the only other guy I think probably for each of them, for who, no matter who wins this fight, would be Michael Chiesa, right? And it sounds like he's hoping to fight pretty soon because he hasn't fought in a while. I know he's targeting like February or March, which might be soon depending on what happens in this fight and how much damage whoever wins takes, right? And I mean, Wonderboy, like we've said, hasn't been super active lately. He would like to be more active, I'm sure, but he is getting older, despite being Wonderboy and looking so handsome all the time. The stud, he's almost 40. He's Wonder Man, really. So yeah. I mean, he can't be as active as you would like, I think, at this point, despite still being very talented and not really taking a whole lot of damage over his career. Just the one knockout and been dropped a couple times, but for the most part, he doesn't get hit a whole lot. Great defense from him, right. But Chiesa seems like the most logical for either guy, just considering everything else that's happening in the welterweight division, right? Like, who knows? For some reason, maybe UFC will do whatever. Gilbert and Kamaru won't happen. Maybe one of them fights Gilbert. I can't imagine Gilbert wanting to not get his title shot next. Like, right. It really depends on the 5 guys, the 5 guys ahead of them. So, but Chiesa seems like the pick, I would say.
Yeah, I like that. I think that makes sense, especially for Neal.
Yeah.
For Wonderboy, you could do it, but again, I could see them not doing it because they just want to end up, having Wonderboy kind of be a gatekeeper. It could happen, right? Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Bradley, again, if Neal wins, make him fight Leon. Khamzat Leon is a stupid fight anyway. Ooh. Here's the thing. We joke around that we're the CNN network, the Chimaev news network.
What?
Yeah. For legal purposes, we have to say it's a joke. I mean, we've gone over this in the back, Drake. Right. I don't know. Yeah.
I must have missed that meeting.
Yeah, you did. And now look.
Look at what I did. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. But, it's one of those things where I really do want to see Khamzat versus Leon to see that is the ultimate hype train versus, someone that deserves a
legit
belt.
contender. Yep.
Yeah. But I also am in pure agreement with Bradley here where Neal would totally deserve a shot against Leon over Chimaev, right? Chimaev we've talked about this before. He's fought one dude, Rees McKee, who we mentioned earlier.
Yes.
One dude, Rees McKee in welterweight. Him getting to fight Leon, if he beats Leon, that's definitely a title shot. There's no way they'll sit on that. That's kind of nuts. Whereas Neal has worked his way up the division. A win over Wonderboy is good. It makes sense. And then you give him Leon, and if he beats Leon, he ends up, getting a title shot. That makes sense from a meritocratic standpoint. From a business standpoint, I will tell you, is probably not going to happen. I'm sorry, Bradley. Clearly the UFC is throwing big bucks and is all on the Chimaev train. there's no way they're going to have Neal, sidestep him. I think if Neal wins this fight, no matter who he gets next, it's going to be somebody that's not even necessarily a number one contender fight, because I think they want to build Neal a little bit as well. So I think he ends up, again, fighting a Chiesa or someone that, they could argue, you know what, that's great and all, but we're going to, have Chimaev defend against Usman again if he beats Usman or something crazy like that, right? Like down the line, you've got Neal is kind of going to be putting this like waiting in the wings, which is not fair to Neal at all, given what he's accomplished. But that's the business side of it. We've seen it done multiple times. Cody Garbrandt is the biggest example that I can think of, where he just, shot into. He beat Almeida. He beat I forget who else, Mizugaki, and then he got a title shot. Right.
Yep.
That was pretty much it. So he just jumped over everybody. Dillashaw and Asuncao both deserved claim at that point, and it's just like, nope, we're going Garbrandt. Same thing's gonna happen with Chimaev. So I hear you. It makes sense from a merit standpoint, but I don't see the business doing it. Drake, am I wrong here?
No, you are spot on with all of that. And I mean, the funny thing is too, like they're gonna rebook that fight, whether they should or should not. They're gonna, because they are. And yeah, it's from a business standpoint, it is absolutely genius. It would be stupid not to, right? To bank off of this Khamzat hype, which is otherworldly, unlike anything we've ever seen before, really. And I mean, because you're risking losing it all right now. Like the fact that it's been slowed down as much, it hasn't slowed down in terms of the hype, but like in terms of making this fight happen. Khamzat would fight every week if you let him. We've seen that, right? So I mean, if they would have liked it, we would have had this fight tonight, right? So they're gonna remake it as soon as possible. Bank on, okay, let's see if this guy's legit. Fuck it, here we go, right? If he is, this is huge. If he wins, this is massive for us. If he loses, well, shit, that's not good, but it's not the end of the world for him, because that's the number 3 guy. They can spin this multiple ways, unless he gets completely embarrassed. If he gets embarrassed, then they look like, then that would be a bit of something, right? That would be something to play with. But yeah.
That'd be pretty nuts. And well, again, if you're joining us, thank you. We appreciate it. If you're just joining us, I know we got about 8 minutes left. Throw in some questions, some comments. We want to hear from you. We want to answer your questions about these fights, previewing. Before we get to the infamous picks, especially because last time, I botched that. I do want to circle back to Geoff Neal real quickly. Simply because he revealed recently on Instagram, right, that he was running a bunch, I think it was 8 miles, averaging 7 minutes a mile, something like that, looking good. But, we had heard that he was very ill. I think it was last year, I believe it was towards the end of last year or earlier this year. And he basically revealed on Instagram that he had.
Well, he got corona, I think, as well.
I think that's what they think might have happened.
Okay.
I don't know if that was ever confirmed for sure or not. Okay. But I know he was very, very sick. I thought this was pre-corona, but I could be off there too. No. Could have happened around the time of March.
Correct us in the comments if you have the answer.
Yeah, correct us in the comments if we're just way off. But he mentioned on Instagram that he had congested heart failure from that, and he's now returning to the octagon. That's nuts. I mean, the fact that you're running 8 miles. Averaging, again, 7 minutes a mile after having congested heart failure, and now you're about to main event against Wonderboy, who is not an easy out. That's insanity to me. That's a crazy recovery. And Geoff Neal is very much in shape. We know this.
Yes, always.
But with that being said, dude had congested heart failure. Is there anything to worry about here? Is there, could his cardio fade? We know running is one thing, and it seems like his cardio is good based on what he showed on Instagram. But in a fight, when you're getting hit, right, you take some of those shots, you get slowed down a little bit. Wonderboy is going to touch him up unless Neal's able to knock him out pretty quickly. Wonderboy, I expect to land some big blows here and keep the pressure on, I would imagine. Is this an issue? Should this affect the betting lines? Does this affect your prediction of the outcome at all?
I think that's a great point. It's a good thing to mention, but I was very distracted by the invasion we've had from somebody in the comments while you were saying that.
Oh.
So that distracted me a little bit. And I
don't see that comment. I don't even know what comment that is.
I have to agree with it. So that man does something to me. And I am very straight, so hey, tailgating, man, we're going.
Hey,
there.
tailgate, yeah, yeah. I remember being at the football tailgate, and some of my buddies being like, dude, like Tom Brady just really
something about him.
Something about him. That Ant Walker, something about
Ant
him.
Walker is the Tom Brady of MMA media, folks. Putting it out there, dropping the hot takes at the tailgate. Actually, it's not a hot take at all. It's common.
Old thinking he's still at the top of his game, still trying to grasp for straws. Trying to reach that glory. That's a good analogy, Drake. You said it, not me.
Yeah,
he said it, not me. That's true.
But as for Jess, who, I mean, I think that's a good thing to point out, especially. I mean, when was his last fight too? Like. Because this all happened within that time span, and So let's see here. I have it right here. Geoff Neal against Mike Perry was so a full year ago as well. So of course, Wonder Boy's fight was over a year ago, but Geoff Neal's over a year and 5 days ago now. So
and he was supposed to fight in August against Neil Magny and then withdrew. So this all happened in August, which is insane. Right? Like, so that was August 29th and he withdrew. So that's literally coming up on about 4 months here since he's had these medical issues, including congested heart failure.
Yeah.
That's
I don't know. I feel like it's definitely worth noting, especially as the fight goes on, perhaps, but I don't think I'm going to let it affect my pick because I think that the safe assumption, as we've kind of been hinting at, touching on this whole time, is if Neal can catch him early, right? Like if Neal can put him away in the first round, otherwise, Wonder Boy's going to be able to just pick him apart for the most part as the fight goes on, wear him down a little bit with his frustrating, distance striking and all of that, or Neal plays with it and survives any shots that Wonder Boy gives him and figures out his footwork and timing, all of that as the fight goes on. But that's assuming he does not, gas out or anything like that, get frustrated himself, which very possible against Wonder Boy. So ultimately, I don't think it will affect my pick on this one just because of how the styles are. But it's a good thing to note for sure.
Yeah, so. No, that's fair. And speaking of picks, we've got 3 minutes until the card starts here. So, again, if you've got any comments or questions and your name isn't Ant Walker, make sure to drop them in the chat. Wonder Boy has done well with good boxers for the most part. That's fair. You know what? Walkout Network, that is a good point. I do like that comment. Near death to a 5. Yeah, I mean, if he's healthy, his power could give him problems. Yes. Yeah, that's pretty much what we said earlier, Ant, because you weren't here on time. But yes, we'll
he's
reiterate
listening
that.
And watching always. You know it.
Yeah, he's always watching. He's always watching. In the pocket, he favors Wonder Boy. Ooh, well, let's get down to the picks. Although Bradley has a good comment here, Geoff Neal is also a headhunter. Isn't that a bad thing? I think against Wonder Boy it is. I think that's not the style you want to go for, because that's the one thing Wonder Boy generally looks out for. That's how his striking defense is so good. He protects his head. He protects his chin. Save from the Pettis fight and Luque getting a couple good shots on him, Wonder Boy is not someone that leaves his chin there, that isn't doing head movement. He keeps that awkward stance so that you can't get to his head. So, yeah, I like that comment. I think that's going to be more of a problem for Neal if he starts, using the same repertoire he's been doing before.
Yeah. But yeah, he'll need to mix it up, I think, and make Wonder Boy really think about the attacks that are coming, which, I think that might have been one of the reasons why, he did get caught by Pettis, is because despite doing as phenomenal as he was against Pettis, you still got to worry about Pettis strikes coming from every which angle. You never know what he's going to throw. So maybe, he obviously did not see that Superman punch coming. So, I mean, yeah. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, let's get into the old picks here. We'll do the main card here, do any other ones we want to. All right, Tybura versus Hardy. I got to go Hardy all day on this one. Again, I think it's a knockout. I think
Hopefully
that's
not.
Easy money. Well, hopefully not, Drake. I'm sorry. I'm not hoping here. I'm picking based on what I've seen and what I know.
Right.
What's your pick? Are you going with Tybura? Is that what you're telling me?
Man, it's heavyweight, and it's like, I can see. I mean, yes, I'm gonna do Hardy knockout.
Yeah, I know. It hurts to say.
Choice,
it hurts to say, but yeah, I mean, trust me, I'd be fine with the Tybura upset here. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a Hardy knockout myself. Next up, Marlon Morice versus Rob Font. I think for this one, I'm gonna go Morice by knockout. Font's been stopped a couple times. Morice still has that power.
That is a great question, and gives us a good question real quick.
Ooh, okay. What's the question? Oh, yeah, that's a very good point. It could be Tybura wins by DQ. That's a very solid point.
Yeah.
You know, look up the odds on that one because it might be worth just like $1, just like you know, just like $1. Like Tybura versus that's not a terrible call given the seat for Party.
Morice Font though.
Yeah, Morice Font. Who you got on that one?
Oh, I got Marlon all day. I think he's gonna really want to look to come out better than ever after that less than stellar performance against Corey Sandhagen. And Rob Font, not the worst opponent ever. He's like the perfect 10 to 12 guy, like we've been saying, like that. He's been perpetually stuck in that spot, and that's because he's good enough to be there, but I don't think he's good enough to get past that spot, right? So I think that this should be Marlon Morice all day. I think he'll have his way, look pretty good for most of the fight. More of the fight than he isn't looking good. Rob Font should probably, land some good shots every here and there, but I think Marlon probably chop him down. Hopefully, he should get back to those leg kicks. He's one of the best leg kickers in MMA. And ultimately, he'll probably, I could see him dropping Font, and then getting a submission maybe, or, I could see him putting him away with whatever strikes it is as well. So I think definitely there will be a finish for Morice, second or third round.
Yeah, I got to agree there. Jason Hart chiming in. The man himself. Oh, yeah, we're doing it. We've been doing it for a bit. You need to catch up, my friend. But I know you will, because I have faith in you, Jason.
Yes.
Doing his thing. An honor to be graced by the president,
Indeed.
Mr. Hart. All right, back to these predictions. We got 3 more left. Events about to kick off, but they take a little bit.
They do their talking.
They always do their thing a little bit, Michel Pereira versus Khaos Williams. Ooh. Oh, and wait, Lockout Network. Let's see here. I think we can question Morice's chin at this point. Font might be his upset. Ooh. No, that's wrong. Just wrong.
Yeah,
there's no way.
He's off on that
Just
one.
Terrible pick. Terrible pick. I've never been wrong on these shows before, so I know for sure that Morice is gonna win. So. But no, that is a solid point. Let's see. So yeah, Michel Pereira versus Khaos Williams. Again, I think the odds on this one are way too much in favor of Pereira in terms of giving him a generous line. Jason Hart has Pereira. For me, Williams again has just looked insane, especially against his last 2 outings. Right?
Somewhat of an ultimate underdog. Somewhat.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Counted out.
And the thing about Pereira is he does all those flips. He's flashy. He's super exciting to watch. But even in his wins, he's taken a while. Right, he struggled in some of that stuff because he's doing too flash. I mean, Tristan Conley beat him by decision, was able to kind of weather that storm. Pereira doesn't normally finish dudes. He can, and if he does so late. But I think, honestly, I think that when it comes to Williams, Pereira's going to do a bunch of crazy spinning stuff, classic Pereira form. He's going to leave his chin there. Williams is going to do exactly what he did last time, and Pereira's going out. Well, Drake, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I got Williams. I think he'll catch him at some point here. He's just been, I don't think he's afraid of anybody, and that definitely has shown in his recent fights. And Pereira, I don't think he'll be, bothered by all the antics as well, and he'll catch him at some point. So.
There you go. There you go. So we've got. Are we unanimous so far? Also,
I think so.
Man, that's crazy. Also, Abraham, again, thanks for watching. Really appreciate that. Mr. Hart, appreciate the love, sir. It's so great.
Oh, God. And why you got to even mention that?
I wouldn't be surprised if both gas and it's Ngannou Lewis Snooze Fest. Man, that wasn't, first of all, and that wasn't gassing. That was fear. And that was a fear and a back problem. That's what that fight was. Fear versus a back problem.
What a great way to describe that fight.
That's exactly what it was. I was there live. That was ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, they could gas, but I think Williams is going to put Pereira out. I think he's going to do his flashy stuff, and that's that. All right, we got, fights are starting here, so let's hurry this along. We got Aldo versus Vera. Ooh, for me, again, we've talked about it. I'm thinking Aldo by decision here. You mentioned it earlier. You think one of them gets a finish in the third round. Who you going with, Drake?
Man, it's tough. It is very tough, but I'm gonna go with one of the GOATs. I'm gonna take Aldo. Keeping on. He just even after these bad defeats that we have seen, people counted him out after the McGregor loss, which that's a little bit of hilarity and more of a maybe Conor fans making that narrative up. But then even after the Aldo wins, came back until I see him look like just complete dog shit, like maybe in those performances. Not that he did against Holloway in both fights. He did put up a fight early on, but as the fight went on, he just kind of really got outpointed there and taken out, of course. But until we see that in a fight like this, I'm not going to count out Aldo just yet, because he's still like only 34, which is absolutely insane to think about. So
yeah, that's
giving
nuts.
it to Aldo.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely he's a weathered veteran, right? Despite his age, for sure. He's been in there forever. But that being said, he's still only 34. I agree completely. Going to Bradley real quick, going back to Michel by flash kick like Guile from Street Fighter.
Easy.
I mean,
all right.
Dang.
I love it.
I'll tell you this, Bradley. I do love that. If I could bet on that specifically, I'd throw $1 on that right now, because the odds have to be ridiculous, and that would be perfect. I'd gladly.
They're probably better. They're probably lower than they are for most people. For him, it's probably more likely.
Exactly. No, it's. I mean, yeah, they are definitely lower than they are for most people, because that's just what Pereira does. So, I mean, if that happens, I'm not going to be mad at it. I'll tell you that. Main event time. Main event pick time. Wonder Boy versus Geoff Neal. Ooh, this is gonna be rough. Well, actually, real quick before we do that, we have Ant saying, I think Aldo wins this. Vera's aggression will play against him. He'll get countered hard. Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think Vera does like to be aggressive, and Aldo can use that. Aldo doesn't have to go in there and make the first move every time. He can kind of come back with counter strikes. I think that'll play into Aldo's favor. Agree. Can't believe I'm saying that. I agree with Ant, but here we are. 2020, man. 2020.
Closing it out.
Closing it out, the strangest of ways. All right. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Geoff Hands of Steel Neal. I've gone back and forth on this one, especially after what happened with Oliveira and Ferguson, where I was looking at a guy that, Neal's, I believe, won his last 7, finished the last 6. Or 6 of those 7. Yeah. I mean, it looks really, really good. It's hard not to like him, but at the same time, I don't think Wonder Boy's done yet. I think Wonder Boy gives him, a little bit more trouble than he's faced here. And I saw, again, some cracks in the armor, so to speak, with that Nico Price fight. I think Thompson can capitalize on that. Neal might have closed those up. Might have, I expect Neal to continue to get better as he has been. But right now, I think I got to lean Wonder Boy. I'm going to say Wonder Boy by decision or late round finish. I'm going to go decision, because I feel like that's Wonder Boy's style. So I'm going to say Wonder Boy by decision myself. Yeah,
no, I like that. I agree. I think Wonder Boy, he's not done yet either. And this fight, I could see it being one where it's fairly competitive. Like, Jeff's going to do very well, and but still at the same time, he's going to be behind, right? He's going to be, I think you can have close but competitive fights. I've been one who says this a lot over my time watching the sport and everything, but like you can have a fight that's competitive, but it's still clear who wins. I feel like this will be that one where he's just going to be a step behind Wonder Boy. And I mean, considering how Wonder Boy looked in his last one and wanting to get more offensive, I could see him mixing up that general, very smart, strategic game plan that he puts in, along with piecing up Neal a little bit, which will then in turn give Neal better chances to land his shots of his own. So I think it could look pretty similar to the Luque fight, honestly, but ultimately it should be a pretty clear Wonder Boy win, I think. Neal, I think he's great and, has plenty of potential still, but I just think that this will be a tough one for him. So, yep, I gotta go Wonder Boy decision as well.
Man, unanimous.
I know,
picks
crazy.
For us. That's crazy. That's ridiculous. But here we are. Chili Chippy, praise our Lord and Savior Jake Nichols. Got to give a shout out to the man behind
Is that Jake's alt?
The show. That might be Jake's alt, but the editor himself. Cheers to you, sir. Totally
Indeed.
worth it. You do a ton of work here. He's the man behind the mirror, the Wizard of Oz, so to speak.
Yes,
Mr. Jake Nichols. See what I did there with the Oz in Australia? Yeah, puns. Terrible puns to end 2020.
Hey.
If you got any other questions, let us know. I know fights are kicking off now. Mm-hmm. Again, really appreciate you guys joining us. I hope you had fun. Make sure you like and subscribe. Check us out. Hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up on the video comments if this is...
He's like, it is not.
Yeah, Chili Chippy said it's not at all. Okay.
I know.
Is it his girlfriend though?
Hey, yeah.
Bradley in again with wouldn't he be slower?
He didn't look too slow to me in that last fight, man.
Yeah, against Luque, you mean? Yeah, he didn't look too slow.
Yeah, it's been a year though, so but
it's hard to say. And you mentioned
Wonder Boy's
his age.
always working though. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But you did mention his age. He's getting older. He's getting near 40. That's a good point. So it could be catching up to him. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see how it goes. But again, thank you guys. We really appreciate it. Enjoy the fights. Enjoy the rest of your 2020. Let's all put this year behind us and have a much better 2021. And again, anything, if you want to hit us up at any time, if you drop comments here and you're not watching this live, you drop comments, don't worry. We will come back and answer them, and we really appreciate it. Anything from you, Drake, to wrap up this great tailgate?
Yeah, you guys, if you also watch Ryzen, we will be back in 2 weeks for the Ryzen 26 intermission show, closing out the year of 2020, the final card, the big bang, as is every year with Ryzen. That'll be on New Year's Eve, of course. For most of us here in the States, assuming that's most who are watching at the moment, that will be probably around I'm going to assume 2 a.m.-ish Pacific time. So, if you want to hang and party with us on New Year's time, let's go. Let's watch some crazy fights in Ryzen, because it's going to be a hell of a card. Final one of the year on the MMA calendar. So, I guess I'll leave it with that, because, hey, we're coming back. We're not done just yet, everybody.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I've just been reminded of this. Very important. Stay tuned for our end of the year awards as well.
Yes.
Once Ryzen is done, that's the last event of the year. Once that is done, then we're going to be releasing some end of the year awards, doing a show about it. Let us know what end of the year awards you want to see, because I know, you have your staples of, best male fighter, best female fighter, fight of the year, knockout of the year, the classics. But let us know if you want to see anything in particular, and we will try and make it happen, because we serve you, the fans. Yes, that's right.
Men of the people.
Men of the people. You're damn right. That's what we are. We're tailgating here. Come on. Men of the people. Come on. So, again, thanks, everybody. Really appreciate the love, and enjoy the fights, y'all. Have fun.